Welcome back to Journey to Novelist. This channel is devoted to new writers and those writers new to pursuing the goal of becoming a published author. This video is part of our new 2023 playlist looking at software for writers for under $60. Today we're going to look at two softwares that fall into this category. We are going to look at Scrivner and Contour for Windows. Jumping right in and looking at a few notes here about Scrivner. You'll see we are on Scrivener 3. It is available for a desktop or laptop system from literatureandlatte.com, and it costs $59.99. Now this so far is the most expensive of the softwares that I found that are in this category, and it is only 1 penny below our $60 budget. It is available for both Windows and macOS. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Literature and Latte website where we list Scrivener here for the price of $59.99, and you'll also see the Mac version is the same price. There is an app for the iPad or iPhone, but we are not going to be looking at the app version. We are going to be looking at the full version for the laptop or desktop system. It is $59.99, as I said, which is 1 penny below our budget. Now, Scrivener has been out for quite a while. The first version came out in 2007 and has been in constant development since then, getting updates and changes. Originally, it was only available for the Mac OS, but has been available for Windows for several years now. The latest version is version 3, and we're going to take a look at that. So let's go ahead and open Scrivener. When Scrivener comes up, you get this project template window, and it shows you some templates and some other information here. You have your interactive tutorial, which will walk you through some of the basics of using Scrivener, how it's organized, and where some of the settings are, which is a very good place to start if you are starting with Scrivener. There's also a user manual, and there are video tutorials also available. If you click on all, you will get a list of all of the templates that are available. Or you can go into a particular section of templates that break them down by category. In the blank templates is basically an empty template if you want to start off with a completely blank slate and build from there. You also have fiction templates, non-fiction templates, script writing, and miscellaneous templates. In the fiction section, you will have the novel with parts, and short story, which are the templates that come with Scrivener. But over the time that I've had Scrivener, I have found several other templates provided by other writers, such as Jamie Gould's romance template, the Romancing the Beat template, and the one-page novel template. These are from outside sources, but they are easy to install and add to your template list here. For now, we're going to be looking at the novel template. I'm going to just give my project a name, which is the first part of using one of these templates and starting a project in Scrivener, and I'm just going to call this My New World. Perhaps that's the name of my project. And when it opens this particular template, it comes right away into this information page that gives you some information about using the template. And then the template itself has set up some sections in Scrivener. You have a manuscript section, and then under that you have a chapter and scene to get you started. You have a folder to place character information and to place setting information. With these, they're set up to add character sketches. In this case, it is using a template that is listed down here in the template sheets. This is something that Scrivener allows you to do, is create these templates for various types of information and arrange them. You have a whole research section where you can save all types of information about what you're writing. You can add photos and links to different websites or information sites. You can add even video clips, I believe, into this research section. You can basically put anything you want into all of these various folders that you create here in what they call your binder. You can turn the binder off if you don't want to see it while you're working. You can turn on and off various rulers and other features. You can go into a page view. There are also corkboard views where you can look at index cards that basically have all the information for various sections of your story. There is a whole section on how to do different views. You have outliner options where you can see your story in an outline version. There's a sidebar over here that is for project bookmarks and for information and synopsis. You can go into this view where you can have a clean writing area. So you can write here. I'm just going to put some dummy text and have a few controls down here at the bottom, like paper width, paper position. So you can make it narrow and go to one side. You can change the scale of the fonts, and you can fade out the background. So that's one of the options. You have all types of metadata, snapshots, areas to place comments. You have your basic styling here at the top. There are also quite a few icons here at the bottom that do different things, like add additional default type objects. So this could be another scene that we added, and we could add yet another one. You can double click and rename them, easy enough. You can add a new chapter. If I was in my manuscript, I could add another scene here. We can add a folder, which would be our next chapter. You can drag and drop things from one section to another, rearrange them, see the different variations of the views. You can split the screen and show two different things side by side. You can get various statistics. You have your word count listed at the bottom. So there's 9 words. Over here I could do a different section, and you'll see that it has its own statistics over there. In short, Scrivner is a very powerful program. It does a lot to help you control and keep all of your objects that have to do with your story arranged, and to give you places to put research. It does have things for spell checking. It does have places where you can look at the statistics about your story. You can set targets for your writing. You have quite a few options that have to do with how Scrivener behaves, how it does corrections and uses quotes, sharing, editing, all your general settings like language, different separators to use for different sections, author information, how and when to make saves. If we go and open a different template, let's go ahead and close this out, do a new project. And I will bring up one of the templates that I downloaded from one of my sites, just so you can get an idea of what can be placed in a template other than what Scrivener provides for you, we'll just open up this one-page novel template. I'm going to create a project based on that. And I get a little warning here because this template was made for the previous version of Scrivener, so it's making some adjustments to the template to fit the new way that Scrivener 3 uses it. But you'll see this one looks quite a bit different than the default Scrivener does. This had quite a few here. This one is much shorter on this particular template. It just has a draft folder for your novel title, and then it has the various pieces that are required when using this particular method. And if you know the one-page novel method, all of this would make sense to you. As to what a trigger scene, the power, the defeat, and the resolution are. But this is a different way of doing a template, and then there's little worksheets that were also included as part of this template. And then there was a section for project notes. So you see, you can build your own template to fit the way you write if you're using Scrivener. To show another example of a different template, I will go ahead and open the Romancing the Beat template and do a new project here. And again, it's an older template, so there's my warning. And you'll see this one lays things out completely different to meet how this Romancing the Beat template works and how this methodology of creating a story with various sections with information for them. You can see Scrivener is indeed a very powerful program. It has a lot of features in there, pretty much anything you would need as you were writing any type of document, fiction or nonfiction, to help you keep your story organized. However, I believe that this software is not necessarily the best choice for someone that is trying to find their own way of writing. Scrivener does have a 30-day free trial, so you can download it and try it out for a while and see if it works for you. I found that I kept getting distracted by all the features of the software and not how to write a story. So I would not necessarily recommend this for a writer that's just starting out, but if you already have a process in place and you're just looking for some software to support you in doing that, then by all means, Scrivener might be your answer. You could set up a template specifically for the way that you write. If you want, you could start Scrivener with a completely blank page, which gives you only a draft document, and from there you could build out your own template. So that's Scrivener. Good program, lots of power, not necessarily something that a first-time writer trying to find their own way is going to want to spend the time to learn. So now let's go ahead and look at Contour for Windows. Now, Contour is a different type of program. Scrivener provides plenty of places for you to actually write the text of your manuscript, to actually get in there and not only figure out what's going on, but to actually write it. Contour is not that type of product. Contour is more for creating your plot or your beats for your story and figuring out what your story is going to be about. It is available from Mariner Software. It is for the Mac or Windows for the price of $39.95. That's the one-time price. There is an app version for $19.95, but again, we're going to be looking at the desktop laptop version. And there is a free trial, and that is what we're going to be looking at, which is a full version of the software, just with a limited time. So if we look at the Mariner Software web page here, you'll see the prices from $19.95 to $39.95. You can choose your operating system and whether you're getting a full version, which you need to do if you don't already have it, or an upgrade version. So let's go ahead and open the software and take a look at what it has. I'm going to say not yet here because I am running the trial version. It's currently version 2.0.3 that we're going to be looking at. This is what comes up when you're working with Contour. Now it has over here on the side a bunch of stories where it has filled out all the information so you can kind of see what others have done for different series or stories. So if we look at The Incredibles, here it asks who the main character is and it says Bob or Mr. Incredible, and if you give it information about your main character. And basically you're going to walk through all of these questions when you're creating a story. So what I want to do is come up here and say new screenplay, because this software is laid out as if you are going to be developing the beats for a screenplay. This also of course works for writing novels because you do need many of the same type of beats in those type of fiction stories. So we'll say new screenplay and it asks me for the name of my new screenplay. So My New World. And it asks for the authors. I'm just going to put me. The start date of when you're starting to develop this, I'll just leave it at today's date. The genre. And I'm going to go ahead and pick a, let's see, what would be good? Let's do a fantasy novel. My source, this is an original idea, and the status is, I can put whatever I want in here. I could put some overview notes or put some feedback based on this and say okay. And now I get this blank template here with the questions ready for me to give them answers. So my main character is Joey, and maybe that's all I know about my character. What is my character trying to accomplish? Well, if I'm unsure about what I'm supposed to be typing here, I can always come over here and read this information and look at the examples that they are showing. Maybe my character is trying to become famous. He doesn't care how he becomes famous, he just wants to be famous. Who's trying to stop the main character? His brother. What happens if the character fails? He leads a reclusive life and is never remembered. So those are my first questions, and then I just keep going. Move into my archetypes where it gives me more information. And basically that's what Contour does. You go through and you end up filling out all of these sections for your different plot type questions. And when you get to the end, you can get a printout of your structure or your beat sheet. To show you that, I'm just going to show you one that's already made. Yes, I'll go ahead and save my changes. And when I save changes, my story is now listed in this list of projects here. So if I look at Star Wars and I look at the beat sheet here, this is what eventually you will end up getting out of the software. This gives me Act 1, Act 2, the second half of Act 2 and Act 3, and it gives the beats that my story would run through. If I wanted to look at the structure, that would break it down by plot point. Basically the same information, just in a different format. Here you can save or import information, and you have a few tools up here. Oops. where you can set your autosave and your spelling settings as to what language your spelling should match and whether you want to check spelling as you type. You can do a few things like set the font that you're going to be using, but that's pretty much the extent of Contour. It just gives you a way to walk through a guided series of questions to develop all of the beats of your story. Could this be helpful for new writers? Definitely. If you don't know how to go about developing the beats for your story, if you're writing a screenplay, or you just want something that will help you walk through developing your plot, Contour might be something that will be helpful for you. So that's Contour for Windows. So those are the two softwares we were going to look at today. There are links in the description of this video for where you can download them, as well as the cost. One thing to note about Scrivner, its $59.99 price, is that if you participate in NaNoWriMo in November, then there are often discounts for that software as part of the offers available for participants, and even a deeper discount is often available for the winners of NaNoWriMo. So if you're thinking that Scrivener might be something you want to use, it might be beneficial for you to wait until November before you actually purchase that software. That wraps up today. Join us next time to look at 2 more softwares.